Then we get an editor window here. Let's go ahead and open up a test file. Open and dbg1, and here's the code for that file. And then suppose we have a problem with this code. We don't necessarily know what it is, but we want to inspect it. So rather than just run the code, we want to be able to interactively inspect the different features of the code. And so that's what we'll use a debugger for. So for instance, if we go to debug and click the debugger, then it drops us into debug mode and gives us another window here. And we'll click on the source button so that we can step along with the source. Then if we go to run the code, run module, then we can see it starts us at the very beginning and it highlights the line that it happens to be on. And then here we can see a list of all the variables that we declare as we declare them, and we have some options for go. That'll just start running the code, or you can step one point at a time. You can step over something. If you're in, you can step out of something. So for instance, if we go step, if we step on this numpy, it's going to go inside. Let's step over it. Now we're on this line, and we can see if we execute this line, like step for instance, then we can see the variable C1 appears with the value that it currently has. If we step again, we can see C2 appears, then we can go through the line, step, 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 and it adds variables to the local variables that we have. We can turn the locals on and off. We can also do the same thing with global variables, which we don't have any right now. If we step again, we can do this TS, and here that's a function, so we stepped inside of the function. Let's step out of it so that we can get back, get back to where we were. Let's go ahead and quit that. I closed the wrong window. Open. Let's go ahead and open our file again. G1. Okay, and run the module, and we'll go ahead and step over these again. I don't want to go inside the linspace function, so we'll just step over it. And you can see TS is an array, and we can see the different quantities, the different values that are housed in it. If we want to jump to a specific point in the code, we can set a breakpoint. So let's hit the right. If we right click, we can set a breakpoint, and then we can, if we step over, we're still where we were, but we can go, and that'll run until we hit the breakpoint. So that's an easy way to jump to a particular place in the program. And here we can see I is 1 because we're on the first value of this list that we're looping through. If we hit go repeatedly, it's going to cycle through the loop, and every time it'll land on that breakpoint. But we can see the value of I increasing. So right now it's 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can see the different values that were defined inside the loop. These flow rate variables here, Q1 and Q2. As we step, as we go, those values will be updated. If we want to get rid of the breakpoint, we can right-click it and clear the breakpoint. We can quit, simple enough. And if we like, we can go and run it again. Maybe this time we want to put a couple of breakpoints in. One at the top, set breakpoint. One at the bottom, set breakpoint. And when we hit go, it'll run through, stopping where we expect. And we can cycle through sequentially. In this way, we can look at the value of our variables as they run and use this as an attempt to debug our code. So that's a way that we can do that with idle. Let's go ahead and look at using the Spider console. The Spider is an integrated development environment that has some nice debugging tools, and we'll try that next. So to do that, we can come up and start Spider, click on the icon that begins it. Now let's go ahead and open a file, and it loads me onto my C drive. I want the J drive where my files are, and I could go down and click that same dbg1, open it up, and here again we see this code. Whoops. We can turn off the breakpoints by double clicking. So in Spider we get a code window, and then we have some different inspectors for objects, variables, file, explorers, breakpoints, and then this console here. And the console defaults to IPython, so all the tricks you can use in IPython are available here, and we've chosen here this IPython console. So you can open any files that you want, just raw source code files, and then there's options here to run the code by clicking this green run button, and different versions of run, and then over these blue buttons are different ways to debug the code. So let's go ahead and just start running this debugger. As soon as we do, we can see it drops us onto this first line, and our console turns into this IPDB, as in IPython debugger. And there's several commands that we can use here. If we click the icon and hover over it, it tells us what it's going to do. Run the current line. Okay, run the current line. In this case, it steps over it naturally. And